crystal chandeliers as I balanced a tray of champagne flutes, weaving between tables of my extended family. The annual Hassan family reunion had grown over the years, now requiring the city's most prestigious venue to accommodate our 100-plus relatives. I adjusted my simple black vest and continued serving drinks to cousins, aunts, and uncles who barely acknowledged my presence. "Omar, bring more of those shrimp appetizers to table 6, my sister Layla called out, snapping her fingers like she was summoning hired help. She wore a designer dress that cost more than most people's monthly rent, her jewelry catching the light as she gestured dismissively. "And make sure you don't drop anything this time." I nodded quietly and headed toward the kitchen, passing conversations about stock portfolios, medical practices, and legal partnerships. The Hassan family had always been successful: doctors, lawyers, engineers, business owners. Everyone except me, apparently. In their eyes, I was the family disappointment who worked service jobs, while they built careers worthy of respect. "Poor Omar," I heard my Aunt Fatima whisper to her husband as I arranged appetizers on silver platters. 30 years old and still working as waitstaff. Such a waste of potential. My uncle Rashid nodded sympathetically. "At least he's employed. Some people are natural waitress material, I suppose. Nothing wrong with knowing your limitations." The comment drew quiet murmurs of agreement from nearby relatives. I continued working methodically, ensuring every glass was filled, every plate perfectly arranged, every detail of their celebration flawless. The irony of their words wasn't lost on me as I moved through the venue I'd personally designed and financed. "You know what Omar's problem is?" Layla announced to her table of accomplished cousins. "No ambition. No vision for success. He's content being invisible, serving successful people instead of becoming one." My cousin Amira, a successful cardiologist, raised her wine glass in agreement. "Exactly. Look around this room, Omar. This is what achievement looks like. The Riverside Grand costs $50,000 just to reserve for an evening. This is where winners celebrate." I polished wine glasses with steady hands, each movement practiced and efficient. The Baccarat crystal caught the light beautifully, reflecting the room's opulent decor back in fractured rainbows. My phone buzzed with a text from my operations manager. "Phoenix acquisition closing tomorrow. Board meeting moved to 3 p.m. Vegas property inspection scheduled for Friday. Are you even listening when we talk to you?" Layla demanded, her voice sharp with irritation. "We're trying to help you understand what success means." "I understand perfectly," I replied simply, arranging fresh flowers in the centerpiece vases. "Do you?" My father, Ahmed Hassan, approached with his usual expression of paternal disappointment. "Son, you're 30 years old. Your cousins are surgeons and CEOs. Layla just made partner at her law firm. Even your younger brother runs his own engineering company. And you're here with a serving tray." The weight of their expectations had pressed down on me for years, each family gathering a reminder of how I'd supposedly failed to live up to the Hassan family standards. They measured success in titles and salaries, in prestige and public recognition, never imagining that someone could achieve both wealth and purpose through different paths. "Maybe this is his ceiling," suggested my cousin Khalil, a successful investment banker. "Some people reach their maximum potential early. Nothing wrong with accepting your place in life." My phone buzzed again. This time it was my CFO. "Quarterly revenue reports ready. Hotel chain up 280% year-over-year. Restaurant division exceeding projections. Need approval for European expansion timeline." I glanced at it briefly and returned to my work. The conversations around me blended into familiar background noise. Discussions of vacation homes, private schools, luxury cars. My family's voices rose above the din, dissecting my life choices with increasing confidence as the evening progressed and the alcohol flowed more freely. "The problem with Omar," my uncle Samir declared from his seat at the head table, "is that he lacks the intelligence for real business. Service work is fine for people who can't handle complex thinking." "It's not about intelligence," Layla corrected with the authority of someone who'd just made law partner. "It's about drive. Omar simply doesn't have the killer instinct required for serious success." I continued serving their table, invisible to them despite standing inches away. The Hassan family had perfected the art of talking about me as if I weren't present, a skill they'd developed over years of family gatherings where my perceived failures provided entertainment between courses. You know what I think? Amira leaned forward conspiratorially. I think Omar enjoys being the family disappointment. It's easier than trying and failing. Better to aim low and succeed than aim high and fall short. The comment drew nods of agreement around the table. Several relatives glanced my way with expressions ranging from pity to mild disgust, as if my presence somehow diminished their own achievements by association. At least he's working, my stepmother Nadia offered half-heartedly. That's more than some people can say. Working? Layla scoffed. This isn't a career, Nadia. This is what people do when they have no other options. When they lack the education or vision for real success. The venue's event coordinator, a professionally dressed woman named Sarah whom I'd hired personally 3 years ago, approached our section with purposeful strides. She navigated through the crowd of celebration with the practiced efficiency of someone who managed high-profile events regularly. Her expression was serious but respectful as she scanned the room. "Excuse me," Sarah said politely, waiting for a break in the conversation. Layla barely glanced at her. "We're having a private family celebration here. Whatever catering issue you have can wait." Sarah cleared her throat and looked directly at me. "Mr. Hassan, I'm terribly sorry to interrupt, but your hospitality empire needs immediate attention. There's an urgent matter requiring the owner's decision." The words hung in the crystal-clear air like suspended champagne bubbles, refracting the light of the chandeliers above. Layla's wine glass trembled in her manicured hand, her eyes widening as she processed what she'd just heard. The table fell silent, their animated discussion grinding to an abrupt halt. I set down the tray of drinks I'd been holding and straightened my vest. "What's the nature of the emergency, Sarah?" "The Dubai Resort acquisition, sir. The sellers are requesting immediate confirmation of the $100 million wire transfer. Also, the mayor's office is holding for your approval on the waterfront development project." My father's face had gone completely pale, his mouth opening and closing without producing sound. Khalil stepped backward, nearly knocking over his chair. Amira gripped her husband's arm for support, her confident expression melting into dawning horror. "Transfer the funds immediately," I instructed Sarah calmly. "Schedule the mayor's meeting for next week after I return from the London property inspection." I turned to my stunned family. "If you'll excuse me, I have 12 venues to manage across 4 cities." Layla's wine glass slipped from her fingers, shattering against the marble floor in a cascade of red wine and crystal fragments. The sound echoed through the ballroom, causing nearby guests to turn and stare at our corner of the celebration. 12 venues. Ahmed whispered, his voice barely audible. 14 actually, I corrected. The Hassan Hospitality Group expanded significantly this quarter. We now operate luxury hotels, event venues, private clubs and restaurant chains across the region. Sarah stepped forward to address my family directly. "Ladies and gentlemen, you have the honor of being related to one of the most successful hospitality entrepreneurs in the Middle East and North America. Mr. Hassan's empire includes the Riverside Grand, the Metropolitan Hotel chain, the Golden Palm Resorts and exclusive venues throughout major metropolitan areas." Rashid sank into his chair heavily, his legs apparently unable to support him. You own this place?" "I've owned the Riverside Grand for 4 years," I confirmed evenly. "I purchased it specifically because the Hassan family loves holding events here. Seemed like a good investment." The color drained from Samir's face as he realized the implications. "For years. You've been watching us celebrate here for 4 years. Every family reunion, every wedding, every anniversary celebration," I nodded. "I personally oversee the service to ensure everything meets Hassan family standards." Nadia found her voice, though it cracked with emotion. "But you were serving drinks. Working?" "I inspect every property personally," I explained. "Quality control requires understanding operations from every level. Tonight I was evaluating our evening service standards during high-profile family events." The weight of their words from the evening seemed to crash down on my relatives simultaneously. Every dismissive comment, every condescending laugh, every assumption about my limitations now hung between us like an indictment of their character and judgment. My phone buzzed with another urgent message from my London acquisition team. "Contracts signed. $300 million hotel portfolio acquisition complete. Press conference scheduled for tomorrow." I glanced at it briefly and looked back at my family's shocked faces. Sarah, I addressed my event coordinator, please ensure our guests have everything they need for the remainder of the evening. And arrange for the Hassan family to receive our platinum service package for all future events. The generosity of the gesture wasn't lost on anyone present. After an evening of mockery and dismissal, I was offering them the highest level of service available at venues they now knew I owned and operated. Layla tried to speak but only managed a strangled whisper. How long have you been building the business? About 8 years, I replied calmly. Started with a small restaurant downtown, reinvested every profit, acquired distressed properties, renovated them to luxury standards. The usual path to success in hospitality. Khalil's investment banking experience finally kicked in. The capital requirements for this scale of operation. Substantial, I confirmed. Current portfolio value is approximately $700 million, with projected growth to exceed $1 billion within 18 months. The number hit my family like a physical blow. Ahmed's hand trembled as he reached for his water glass. $700 million. The scale of my success dwarfed everything they'd achieved in their respective careers combined. As I walked toward the kitchen to check on the evening's service, I heard Fatima whisper urgently to her husband, "How did we not know? How did we not see?" The answer, of course, was that they'd been too busy talking to listen, too confident in their assumptions to question them, too focused on their own definitions of success to recognize achievement that didn't fit their narrow parameters. The Hassan family reunion continued around us, but the celebration had fundamentally changed. The same crystal chandeliers cast the same elegant light, the same orchestra played the same beautiful music, and the same champagne sparkled just as brilliantly